What's going on, everyone? This is Bunny Muffin. Today we're going to be going over the Sharpshooter Spirit comp that everyone's been talking about. Today we're going to be doing the easy version of the comp. As you guys can see here, I do get the Tristana chosen early. So if you do get this, I always recommend playing it right now because it is just that powerful. And based on the patch preview, this comp should still be good on next patch as well, which comes out next Wednesday. And then later this week, I am going to be posting games where you don't get the Tristana chosen, where I'm forcing it every game. So you guys can kind of see what to do if you don't get the really good starts for this. It does get a lot harder though, I must warn you. So it's like, if you play this composition as like one comp in your arsenal, very, very strong. If you're only playing the Tristana Sharpshooter comp, it's going to be a lot more difficult, obviously, because you are going to be forcing it and it is going to be contested. But this game, we do get the Sharpshooter chosen, so I am going to show you guys how to utilize this and kind of leverage it into getting a good game. So in this first shop, we are only going to be buying the units that belong in the composition. If you guys don't know how to do that, head on over to my website, bunnymuffins.lol, and then click on the meta snapshot and then check out the Spirit Sharpshooter composition. So we only really care about those units. And a lot of times we give up the early game in order just to get those units. A lot of times you're going to find yourself at Wolf Camp with like 30 to 50 health because you just kind of lost every single game until then, and that is perfectly fine. This comp does not need that much health because once you hit everything, it's super, super, super strong. So as you guys can see here, I am going to be just trying to play as strong of a board as I can. Pretty much my goal is just to kill 1 or 2 units, and again, it's fine to lose. You actually kind of want to lose because you can't expect to win when you're playing a reroll comp in the early game. So losing all the early rounds is going to be great to generate a lose streak in order to get the most gold into the mid game. Another thing we're going to be doing is open forting soon because a lot of times gold is just more important than anything else. So here we can see this guy leveled up. He's got a Tristana as well. He slammed the Last Whisper and he's got Teemo. A lot of people love playing Sharpshooter starts, and it's a little unfortunate because they do kind of take our units, but that's just part of the game. Sharpshooters just make a lot of sense to transition from in this meta because a lot of people are playing attack damage compositions, and Tristana is just like a great item holder for all of that. Nidalee is a great item holder for ability power. And yeah, 2 Vanguards up front. You could add in stuff like Warlords at level 5. You could add in stuff like Dragon Soul from Braum and Tristana. So it's kind of just a comp that makes a lot of sense to play in the early game just because it provides a lot of different synergies that you could add to your team. So the most important thing about this composition is the items. So as you guys notice, I started the game with a rod. You want either rod or glove. Pretty much either works. Don't go for whatever's contested. Just go for the uncontested one. So if everyone's going for a glove, which is a more popular item, just go for the rod because you really just need to guarantee that you have at least one of those items. If not, the game's going to be really, really difficult for you. Luckily, since we're going to be losing a lot of games, we're going to be first pick on a lot of these carousels. So that is one way to kind of come back into the game. So you will often see a lot of players when they play this composition, they have like almost perfect items because again, we're going to be first pick a lot of times on these carousels. All right, so this guy also has the chosen Tristana. So it's not like a completely free game by any means. I don't know why he built Guardian Angel because that might mean he is pivoting out of it perhaps, but Guardian Angel is typically not a great item on Tristana. The best items on Tristana are Quicksilver Sash and Last Whisper. Third item can be just any damage item, doesn't really matter. Some people like Hand of Justice, some people like Infinity Edge, some people like RFC or Runons, some people like Rage Blade, but in reality, it just really doesn't matter what that third item is. So here we get the Chain Vest. The second most important item in the composition, apart from the Tristana items, are getting as many lockets as possible. So you'll notice that we have 2 rods on our team right now, and Chain Vest plus Rod, that's a locket. The reason why this item is so important is because we do not run a front line in our final composition. So what that means is that we need to have some sort of tank item to compensate for that. And what better item than Locket, because it just gives a shield to your whole team. We're going to be running a bunch of 3-stars. We have 3-star Diana, and that shield is just going to provide a lot of tankiness for our team, even though we don't actually have a tank unit. All right, so we're facing this guy here. This guy looks pretty weak. He's got a brand up front, 2-starred with Dragon Soul, but he doesn't have a chosen. So we might actually beat this guy, which is a little unfortunate because that kind of kills our streak, right? So a little unfortunate there. We really only have 1 2-star, and then the rest of our team are 1-star, but I guess this guy was just that much weaker. Again, that is really unlucky, and hopefully that doesn't happen in your games. You really want to be lose streaking this entire phase right here. So we pick up the Sivir, we'll drop her in, and then put in 4 Sharpshooters. Now we kind of don't mind winning because we already won a game. Even though we're going to lose a lot of games in stage 3, since we lost a lose streak, we might as well try to preserve our life total instead of trying to generate the most gold possible. All right, this guy's level 5. He's running... I don't even know what he's running. He's just running random units. But hopefully, like, we don't lose by that much. But unfortunately, this Yumi's healing everything, so we do get a 4-unit loss, which means that this win, the round before, really hurts because now we just have no econ. We probably should have had around like 45 to 50 gold at this point, but instead we have 38, which not ideal at all because you really need a lot of gold for this composition or in any reroll composition for that matter. All right, so in terms of items here, we get some gold and we get a chain vest. So that is really good. We get a second locket there. Belt, a little unlucky. You don't want any belts in this composition. Negatron's really only used for Quicksilver Sash. Sometimes you can build Runons with it, but that's not really the best item for Tristana. But we slammed the other locket. It's pretty good, you know. It's not the end of the world that we have this belt and Negatron because we could build stuff like Zeke's. And then since we were at like 48 gold, I decided to roll a couple of times to go down to 40 just to see if we hit some of the extra units because we're not making an extra interest from that gold. So we do get the Diana 2-star. I actually kind of wanted to stabilize my board a little bit too. And also since we have Sharpshooter chosen, we don't need to play Nidalee. So that's why you see me selling Nidalee there because we have Teemo, Sivir, and Tristana chosen already. So that gives us 4 Sharpshooters. Some people like playing 6, but from what I've seen, the like really best players who play this comp, they don't really go for 6 Sharpshooter. Just because I'm guessing it's too risky to try to wait for Samira and hold the Nidalees on your bench. But I've seen it done sometimes, just not that often for people to like really go for. Another thing to keep in mind is that I am contested here, so getting as many Tristanas as possible early is super important, but we don't really hit that many, which is kind of unlucky. All right, so new shop, we kind of have to wait to eco back up to 50, and then after that we'll roll down again. I probably made a mistake last round. I probably rolled too much. I feel like if I just rolled down to 40, it would have been fine, but rolling down to 30 might be a little too much, even if I am actually contested. And yeah, that guy seems to be going for a lot of Tristanas as well. Let's see how this Diana does. This guy's got an Olaf already. Holy cow, with the Darius 2-star. This guy is much stronger than me. Okay, so we keep seeing a lot of Nidalees. Really unlucky because we just don't care about her. Okay, so now we're facing another Tristana chosen guy. Are there 2 other Tristana players? There must be because... And we're not seeing any, and I think Dota Transfer and this guy Proxy both have Tristana, like a lot of Tristana. So, oh man, that's really unfortunate. He is level 6, but some players, they go level 6 and slow roll at 6 instead of 5. It really depends on the game, and when you're contested, you do have to consider doing that. So on this carousel, we have a belt and a Negatron, so we kind of want to complete our Negatron items by making the Quicksilver Sash, but unfortunately none there. For sword, for belt, we want a sword to build Zeke's, but that got taken too. So I guess I don't really know what to take here. Is it another rod to try to get another locket, or is it Negatron so we could build like maybe Chalice or something later in the game, or just have an extra Negatron in case we get like a lot of bows? Maybe we could build Runons. I don't really know what the best item is there because all the items that we wanted got taken, which again, really unlucky because the items we have on our bench right now are hot garbage. Maybe it was Tier. Maybe I should have taken Tier, though, now that I think about it, because maybe I could build a Hand of Justice with it. But the thing is, we need 3 more gloves, so I really doubt that we're going to get that many gloves later in the game. So here we get a bow. You really want to save bow for Last Whisper, and here I'm thinking I should probably reforge something in order to build like a real item, because even though Runons is a decent item, it's not like that great of an item. So I decided to just reforge here. And we get a rod. Unlucky because we can't really build anything with that. We really just needed glove, like a lot of them. Perhaps I should have reforged the Negatron instead of the belt, because if I got a sword, I could slam Zeke. So maybe that's a mistake there. I should have reforged the Negatron cloak instead of the sword, or instead of the belt. Okay, so this round, see, we're kind of winning rounds now. It's not that bad. You'll see in the later video where I play on my Japanese account and I'm forcing this comp every single game, you'll see how hard this comp stabilizes once you hit everything, because it's just completely nuts what happens. All right, so we have a lot of Tristanas at least, so that's pretty good. So we almost have the 3-star Tristana. We are pretty far away from the Diana 3, but maybe we'll hit it on the roll down, so we're getting a tiny bit closer right now. Keep in mind, we do have the loaded dice. So the best thing to loaded dice in this comp is Teemo. That's because Teemo is both a spirit and a sharpshooter, so it just gives everything that you want. So that's generally the best unit to use loaded dice on in this composition. And you'll notice that we have one here. Whenever you get a Nico's or loaded dice for this composition, it's always going to be much stronger because you'll be able to get your 3 stars that much faster. All right, so this guy got hit pretty hard, which is really nice. So we do have like a kind of mini win streak. We don't have Tristana 3 yet, so you guys bet that like once we get that, it's going to be even easier from here. And this is a master lobby, so it's not like the weakest players. Whereas when I play on my Japan account, we'll be playing against gold players, so it will be a little easier once we get there. But right now we're playing against Masters, and 60 life is a lot of life for this composition. Most people who play this in Challenger are typically at 40 life maximum, and most likely at 30 life or below. So it is a pretty difficult comp in that sense, because if you're playing against really good players, you're not going to be able to get away with what I'm doing right now, which is essentially just not having like that strong of a team and having a lot of life before my power spike. Because once we do hit this power spike, we're not going to be losing a game for a while. Like I can guarantee that. You guys will see right here. And since it's 4-1, I do want to do a complete roll down because I am pretty close to hitting all my units. And like I need a power spike ASAP. And so I'm going to use my loaded dice right now. We do hit the Tristana. We get some Teemos as well, but no Dianas, which is a little unfortunate. But we do get an extra locket. We're going to go ahead and slam that. And since we have extra item components for Quicksilver and the Last Whisper, I'm just going to go ahead and build Runons on Tristana right now. Just because like there's not much else to do with those items. I could slap the other bow on Tristana because that is 100% going on her, because I could, worst case scenario, build like build a Giant Slayer in case I don't get Last Whisper. Oh yeah, and just a note, when you have chosen Sharpshooter, you want to take out Nidalee, and if you have Spirit chosen from Diana chosen, for example, you want to take out Kindred. So this game we have the Sharpshooter chosen, so we're going to keep Kindred and get rid of the Nidalee. We do get Teemo 3, which is pretty nice. There are a lot of different carries in this composition. You could go for Teemo 3, you could go for Sivir 3. You don't have to go for them either. It's like a lot of different options for you there. But we really need this last Diana. I probably shouldn't have rolled to 0. You always want to keep at least 10 gold, just because if we don't hit, like, you just lose a lot of gold because you don't get any interest any turn. And there's a big difference between going to 0 and going to 10 gold in terms of ecoing back up to 50 gold, in case you guys didn't know. It's kind of like a best practice. If you're not going to die, never go below 10 gold. I kind of break that rule here because I kind of got tilted because I was just one off Diana and I just really wanted to find it. But that's a mistake from me. Don't do that in your games. But I should put the bow on Tristana because that's always going on her. Negatron, it might not later in the game. All right, so this guy's got Olaf 2-star with GA, RFC, and a bow. He does have an Aatrox as well, but it's so funny because Aatrox didn't pull my Tristana because Aatrox walked all the way up to my front line because I don't have a unit in the front. Normally you put Yuumi in the front line, but since I have a Kindred too, I played the Kindred over the Yuumi. It's just kind of funny to look at because Aatrox is normally the counter to this if you do not have a Quicksilver. That's why Quicksilver is just that important. But luckily we're able to get away with that there. And here, again, what we need is a glove because we haven't gotten like a glove all game. Luckily, we are able to get one, and I grabbed the 3-cost glove right there. All right, so this is like where things get a little tricky. Some people, they prioritize damage items such as Last Whisper on Tristana more than the Quicksilver. I personally like Quicksilver a little more. That way I don't have to worry about positioning. It's mainly because I'm lazy, but I have seen recently that a lot more people prioritize Last Whisper over the Quicksilver Sash. But both items are like super, super important. Like you really want both of them in every one of your games whenever you do this. But I was thinking build the Quicksilver because I do have the sword on my bench. So worst case scenario, this bow is going to turn into a Giant Slayer. Had I built a Last Whisper instead, I'd have to build a Bloodthirster on Tristana, which just really isn't that great. So that's why I opted to go for the Quicksilver in this scenario. Also, like, again, I'm lazy. I don't like the position. So Quicksilver just avoids all of that completely. But if you're super tryharding, I guess you could build Last Whisper to try to sweat some positioning because I have seen some of the best players, they prioritize Last Whisper slightly more than they do for Quicksilver. Again, it's not set in stone. Some players still like the Quicksilver Sash more than the Last Whisper. It really just depends on your own personal preference. All right, so last round in stage 4, 4-6. This guy's got 2-star Sedge, but he doesn't really have a carry unit at 2-star. He's kind of building this Tryndamere, which I don't think is going to be enough for this, as this comp is just super strong. We hit everything. We only lost 1 round in stage 4, which is pretty big considering we didn't hit the Diana 3 till later. We do have the Teemo 3-star, but unfortunately we don't have items for him. a lot of times what people do is if they can't get the Diana 3-star, they put all the lockets on Teemo and roll for Teemo 3-star. Or they put stuff like Shojin or Rageblade on Teemo. Those are pretty good items on him. All right, so on this game, let's see what happens. Okay, we get completely lucky here. We get a glove, so we get best in slot items for Tristana. Best in slot as in like the third item doesn't really matter that much. So you just want Quicksilver, Last Whisper, and then just any other damage item. Like, again, Hand of Justice, Runons, Infinity Edge, like they're all going to be pretty decent. Infinity Edge I think is my favorite, but some people like Hand of Justice for the healing. Holy cow, this dude just got Kale 3-star. Yeah, that is pretty unfortunate because that guy is really high life as well. He's 61 life, and we face him. That's nice. So we face the guy with 3-star Kale right after he hits it, and he's still at 61 life. That is absolutely nuts. I don't know how people get away with getting 3-star Kale when Kale's like very good right now. So a lot of people should be going for Kales, right? I don't know. Like, I guess he had loaded dice. Maybe he had a couple of Nikos as well, and that's why he's able to get that strong. But as you guys can see here, even against a Kale 3, we're able to just take a 1-unit loss, which I'd say is good enough against that. All right, so, man, we see a Kale in our shop now. Like, how did he hit all the Kales? Like, I don't know. I don't know. All right, so here we want to try to level up, try to power spike. We drop in the Mystic, so it's like normally we'd be win streaking this whole time, right? But when someone hits Kale 3, can't really win streak against that. So it's at that point where I'm like, all right, I just need to level up because this guy is going to knock everyone out of the game. So I kind of just want to preserve my health, maybe try to play for second right now because there's no way in hell that I am going to get first place this game against that comp. Like, this comp is super strong, the one we're playing right now, and you will get a lot of first place with this composition. However, when someone gets something completely super ridiculous, like, you're just not going to be able to compete with that. Like, I don't know what to tell you. All right, so when you level up, I see a lot of people, they like playing 4 Mystic. Some people like playing Pike for Assassin. There are a lot of different things you can do. It kind of just depends on what items you have and what state your comp's in, like which units you have 3 stars of. But right now, I'm going to opt to go for the Mystic because there is a lot of magic damage in this lobby, so I'm going to add in Janna for the Mystic right now. Zillion's going to be better later, and if we do hit level 9, we could play something like 4 Mystic. That's a very viable choice in my opinion. One thing to note for positioning. I'll go over this in the next stage, but you always want to make sure your Yuumi hits Tristana because Yuumi gives an attack speed buff, and guess what the unit benefits most from attack speed? It's going to be Tristana. So you always want to target your Yuumi to your Tristana, which means keep Tristana in the corner and keep Yuumi on the opposite side. Since she is a solo tank, it should be pretty easy to get that hit off. All right, so we are last pick on this carousel. Let's see what we get here. I could go for the Zephyr. Maybe we could Zephyr the Kale. Or I could go for Thieves' Glove since we have Teemo at 3-star. So I think I'm going to go for that. Again, I told you guys before, Shojin's another really good item on Teemo. But since he's 3-star, we didn't get the Shojin. We'll just get a Thieves' Gloves for him just to hopefully roll good items on him. All right, so I make a mistake here. I think I should roll down to try to get Sivir 3-star. Reason is, once we get to level 8, we can't really put anything in that is that great. We could maybe put a Pike in, but it's not really that big of a power spike. So I'm thinking maybe we should have rolled because the only other option is going to level 9. But since there's a 3-star Kale in our game, I don't really think we're making it to level 9 this game. Oh yeah, and about the positioning. Notice how I have Yuumi on the top right and Tristana on the bottom left. If you switch to the other corner, putting Tristana on the bottom right here, you want Yuumi around this area on the top left so that she heals herself and then jumps straight to your Tristana just to get the attack speed buffs off. Oh man, we face this guy again. Ah, boy. He also got the Zephyr. He was last pick and he got Zephyr. That is crazy. Maybe I should have taken Zephyr to Zephyr his Kale, but look at this. We almost beat him. Like, I know she's got Guardian Angel, but like we put her down to 67 health. I'd say that's good enough, you know? All right, we get a Jeweled Gauntlet here. Ah, man. We don't have a slot on Teemo, so I guess we put this on Kindred. All right, so maybe now we could think about leveling up. Maybe next turn, since we are kind of low gold, we could put in an extra Spirit unit as well. That isn't too bad either. The more Spirit units you have, the more attack speed you get from the Spirit debuff. And oh, this Quicksilver, you can see, like, we blocked 2 Zephyrs this game already. It's just paying off, like, huge dividends right now because it's just the best item on Tristana. Like, it blocked the Sejuani ultimate. Like, there's just so much CC in the game right now that Quicksilver is just like a complete must in my opinion, unless you like really sweat your positioning. But a lot of times we don't have time to do that. All right, so we're going to go ahead and level up here because it's a pretty clean level up. Just add in the extra spirit unit. Like, we could play assassin with a Kali, but I don't really think Diana being an assassin really matters that much. I'd rather get more attack speed on our Tristana. All right, so this guy's going Elderwood. He's got a lot of Ornn items. He's got 1, 2, 3 Ornn items. Man, how did he get 3 Ornn items? He must have gotten it, like, right away. Does he beat us? This Zaya's looking a little sketch. Sketch as in like a little scary, and he does beat us. Holy cow. That's with set 1, so he's only going to get stronger once he gets set 2. So we might want to, if you guys notice on the top right, it is down to 3 players right now. So we do want to try to play for second because no one's beating the first place guy. So we want to try to deny as many sets as possible. Man, he only has 1-star Ornn and he got 3 Ornn items. He must have gotten it like right as he hit level 7. In case you guys didn't know, 3 Ornn items is a lot at stage 6 because it takes 4 turns for him to get an item. So 4 times 3, that is 12 rounds of using Ornn to get 3 items at Ornn 1-star. If it was 2-star, I could kind of understand why he got it, but like not at 1-star. Holy cow, that's completely insane. All right, so now we are onto the carousel. What do we want? Maybe a Zeke's. Maybe Shojin could be possible, but I think Zeke's is the best. Just drop it on our Sivir. All right, we could play like a random legendary at level 8 too. Yeah, Azir is a really good one because he provides a lot of tankiness for your team because he has soldiers. And he's just not a bad CC unit himself. So a lot of times you could run random Azir in sharpshooters. But let's see what else we can get here. I think like Pike 2-star would be like, maybe it's close. I'm not really too sure which one is really that much better. And we made a mistake there. We should have picked up a Zillion, dropped the Janna. All right, so now we've dropped the Zeke's on the Sivir. Now Sivir's buffing our Tristana. I guess I made a mistake before. I should have had my Sivir next to my Tristana the whole time. I think I just forgot about it because she's 1-star and I didn't have any buff items on her. But don't make that mistake in your game, I guess. All right, so we lose there. Does the other guy get knocked out? He should, right? Okay, so we get second. Like, we're not beating the other guy, you know? So yeah, there's that. I rolled down. I hit the Sivir 2-star. I skipped Zillion again. I'm not sure why. But yeah, I'm not going to go over the rest of this game because you guys probably already know what happens. This guy's got Kale 3-star, and I try my best to like sweat positioning against it, but it's just not going to happen. So if you do have questions on the composition, I'm going to be releasing another video on this in a couple of days. And again, I'm going to be hard forcing this comp like 7 games in a row. So there are games where I don't get the perfect start like I do here. And I'll show you guys how to deal with that. And hopefully you guys can implement those strategies into your games as well. It is going to be played on my Japanese account, so the players are a little weaker. But again, since I'm not like maining this composition, I kind of play flexibly. Like, I'm not going to be forcing this comp every game. I'm only going to go for it if I get great starts for it. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I will see you guys next time.